So we are live then now.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So
Right.
we'll give it 1 or 2 minutes more and let others also join. Meanwhile, we were already having a very interesting discussion around what's happening in the world and what's happening in the AI world, especially. The world has changed.
It's
And to
drastic.
continue.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. And then you throw the whole the non-compete issues out now, which is a whole nother fun shakeup.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big change.
That must really be helpful in the sales side, I would imagine now. Right?
It's going to be great for sales. It's going to be interesting what it does for recruiting firms too.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, every firm better be adding making people policymakers if they don't want them to leave. So that was one of the few outs.
You're right.
Yeah.
Salary
Right,
and policymaker, you know. So
has it already in force or it's going to take time?
I think it's like 6 months roughly, right? I think there's differing opinions of what was written, whether it was 3 months from whenever they release it, but 6 months most likely, like 4 months, I guess it was.
Really interesting.
So
okay, I think we are good to start maybe. What do you say?
Yeah, we are good to folks have joined, so I mean we can start, and in the meantime more will join.
Okay, cool. And you're letting people automatically in, so that's a good thing. Okay, we'll get started. Well, guys, thanks for joining. Welcome, everyone. And happy Thursday, one more day to weekend. Yeah, guys, so my name is Lakshman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Outplay, a sales engagement platform some of you might be using, and others we want to invite you, obviously, and also your host and moderator for this webinar today. And before we begin, I want to acknowledge the hard work of both the Outplay and Crelate teams in putting this webinar together. A lot goes in behind the scenes to make events like this happen. So thank you everyone involved. And let me quickly run you through the agenda. Today we're going to be talking about streamlining the recruitment process for 2024. And you'll know the reason why I'm saying 2024 in quotes, because things have changed. We are living in the new world altogether now. It's a crazy year with so much happening in the world and speed at which technology and workflows are evolving. So we'll be talking about AI, especially, and AI also in the recruitment, especially improving time to hire, importance of digital and social media channels for recruiters, and last but not least, the Outplay and Crelate integration and how it will help recruiters and firms um, also. And before we jump in, let me take a moment to introduce our fantastic line of speakers. I'll start with Paul. Paul Lipman, founder of Shadow Search Group, and one of the most tech-savvy recruiters that I know in my network. And Paul, for those who don't know, please give a quick intro about yourself.
Well, actually, I'm not the founder of Rosado Search Group. I'm actually I guess, a partner. But I've been in recruiting now for, over 26 years. Background's been in technology, and have had my own firm for a number of years, technology search consultants. And what else did you want to know? I'm a big fan of Crelate and a big fan of Outplay, and I'm probably one of the few who kind of, well, I won't say one of the few who know how it works, but I'm intimately knowledgeable on the interface and can speak to that pretty well.
Yeah, you're a big part of how we built Outplay and also the Crelate integration. Very early adopters, you and Rich. Of course, next, Rich Rawson next from Cornerstone Search and another tech-savvy recruiter. Over to you, Rich.
Yeah, God, I've been recruiting for 28 years and placing software sales reps and execs. And God, I was early on with both Crelate and Outplay. So, and then helped you guys get your initial integration done, which has been absolutely, phenomenal for, I don't know, how many years I've been on it now? God, for several at least. So, but Yeah, I mean, it's been this seamless integration makes life incredibly easy for a solo recruiter that is generally super productive. So yeah, so that is me.
Wonderful. So our next speaker, Courtney Harmon, Director of Industry Relations at Crelate. And she talks to experts like this all day long, and she runs her own podcast. Over to you, Courtney.
Thanks. Obviously, I'm with Crelate. You know a little bit about us, hopefully end-to-end staffing and recruiting platform, obviously helping you guys do your business easier and faster. As for industry relations, I've been in your shoes. I was a recruiter. I ran a desk, but I've also trained hundreds of recruiters and thousands of recruiters and worked with business owners, really trying to help them increase their revenue, do better. So I kind of know all of your pain points, and I'm just the dot connector between the software and how you do your stuff better. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Love the way you said how easy it is.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys, for all three of you. You've agreed on a short notice to come and kind of talk about all these topics and help the larger group. All right, with the introductions out of the way, let's dive right into the content. Remember, you can always submit your questions on the chat. And I, Love, and Pratik from Outplay team, we are monitoring your questions and we'll put to the right speaker on the board. And we're also recording this session, so we'll be emailing you the recording for all the attendees and for the people who have missed as well. So feel free to share it with your teams and colleagues internally. Okay, let's dive in. So the first question, the hot topic obviously in the world, which is AI. So we all lived through and adopted the automation over the last 5 years, like a lot of automation tools, the workflows that we have already built in. And now the AI is kind of cherry on top. So this is kind of AI is automating and then helping you automate in a better way. So things are crazy out there, obviously, and it's very confusing for the user, be it a recruiter or a salesperson, whoever it is. Like, it's very confusing which tool does what, and then what exactly am I paying for, and all those questions, right? So the world is becoming like either you adopt or get left behind. There is no other choice. So that's why this kind of webinar we put together to help everybody. So with that, I'd like to get your thoughts on how has the role of a recruiter evolved in the past few years with the rise of AI and all these automation tools in the hiring process? So maybe we can start off with Paul.
I utilize AI primarily for a couple of areas that I feel is very strong. One is obviously to learn about, very quickly learn about a specific skill set that I'm working on, recruiting on. Two, generate really crisp emails. And then three, hyper personalization. And that I think goes hand in hand with the outreach that Outplay does. Is how do you personalize your candidates so that it feels like you're talking specifically to them, and that's a challenge. There are tools out there that can summarize. There are prompts that you can write. There's some prompt engineering that I know some people are very strong at. I'm learning. And then there's all these different I forget what they call it, like ChatGPT and Pilot, these different automation AI tools that you can use, and some are better than others. So it is a constant learning experience for me, at least, in terms of which tools I like. There are a lot of products out there as well. I have yet to investigate some of these turnkey products because there's just so many out there that I can't speak to. Maybe Rich or Courtney have looked at some of these, but I haven't.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that is, yeah, Rich, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, so I was just about to ask a follow-up question to the Paul on that. So one is, after you find the candidates, you're using AI to kind of personalize and get the better response rates. But have you seen AI playing a role even before that step? Like where to find these candidates, or quickly scraping and doing all that stuff?
I haven't really, in my particular, I do work in the legal industry, and I haven't really utilized it that much because I have some tools out there that already provide me that. They're not necessarily AI tools, but yeah, I do use it for scraping though. LinkedIn, it does give me names and colleagues, and gives me insights into the firms that they work at, and some comparisons in terms of, you know, the different types of firms. So I use it, I guess, holistically, but not really as a pure sourcing thing. Maybe Rich, you might be using it more as a sourcing tool.
I mean, a little bit. There's a couple of different tools. I mean, I mean, to be honest with you, 90% of the AI tools for recruiting are just, you know, repurpose links back to LinkedIn still. So
Right.
most don't really send you any place. Like there's some pretty cool ones like Nebula that does some pretty cool stuff. You know, that can find people that really aren't on LinkedIn, that can give you some decent information outside of that as well. There's others that are, you know, I don't know if it's true AI, but, you know, for personality testing and things like that to help kind of match client personalities. But candidly, I mean, to me right now, AI for recruiting is really about the emails is the bulk of it. I mean, it's a different search engine to look up information, like Paul said, but it's really, you know, it's making the writing better. It's for 99% of recruiters. And I look at tons of tools.
There's a caveat there. I was going to say, just not to interrupt, but Rich, but you have to be careful with the AI writing tools, because they are, for lack of a better word, not very original sometimes.
Well, it's all comes down to knowing how to make the right prompt, and then you've got to reread it. It's far from perfect, but it gives you a much better structure than what most people write. But anyway, anyone that's done ChatGPT knows the you know, I hope you're well beginning.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Strip that out of there. And you can tell it not to do that when you want it to write it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can teach it also. I mean, I've trained mine to write like certain writers, like certain sales people that I write. So it writes amazing emails. Now that have, you know, like anything else, sometimes it gets a better response than others, you know. Sometimes my broken emails get great responses.
Right.
You know, you just don't know. So but you know, I look at all the tools. I mean, I'm on the Pinnacle Society, and on there, you know, run the tech team for Pinnacle, which is really looking at all these different tools anyway for recruiting. And, you know, there's some fascinating stuff out there. It's got potential, but most of it, you know, it's fun to look at and it sounds great, but it's just a second step to go to LinkedIn. So, you know, but
Yeah.
that's
So I mean, finally, what you're saying is, like, at a large scale, like, we haven't adopted across the processes, but a piece of the process, which is like researching about the people, personalities, work experiences, and using all that information to personalize the interactions with them.
Yeah, I mean, I every time I use it to go pull up candidates. I've used different AI tools to pull up candidates. I mean, it's not that different than if I pull up a Boolean string into LinkedIn. You know, I wish it was better. I wish it was different. I wish there was a whole lot more excitement. Like, I mean, like the Nebula one, and I think it was a People GPT, you know, were pretty interesting on some of the nuances they can do. But, you know, they're a lot of work to figure out and to really master. So by the time you do it, you know, sometimes it's just easier to just go the old school route that you know. And if you're connected on LinkedIn, I mean, and I hate to, as Steve Levy always says, the blue devil, I hate to ever push LinkedIn, but it is, you know, and unfortunately, it's still the king of the space right now. And, you know, hopefully one day someone will have a new solution. So.
Laxman, I don't necessarily, you asked the question about how has it evolved our roles. I don't think the what hasn't changed. What we do has not changed fundamentally. That we are still identifying, we're still attracting, we're still evaluating top talent for open jobs, but how we're doing it is different. So I look at AI as, I'm an athlete, so I look at it that should be, it's like the superb athlete to make you bigger, faster, stronger, right? It's helping you write those messages. It's helping you be more places at more times. You know, I always used to hear the number one complaint about recruiters is they call too frequently in the beginning, then they never follow up with you. But AI is now the tool to help you be the differentiator, be in front of the right audience at the right time, at the right place with the right message. You can now, you know, balance your desk better. You can never forget a follow-up and really maybe help you get to that human connection faster. Because in today's environment where you're getting mass emails, I don't know about you guys, I'm getting messages. I'm from a very small town in Ohio, and people are like, "Oh, my parents met in your town and they live across the country. Don't even spell my town right. Oh, they met there." And it's getting creative. Don't get me wrong, but it's just becoming noise. So it's just helping us. We have to figure out how to really get to the human experience faster to help us cultivate relationships and connections and use those automations in the right way. So again, it helps us be that bigger, faster, stronger athlete.
But can I ask you, do you think that's AI, or do you think it's just using like Crelate, which I love? Does it just using Crelate wisely and making sure you've got proper scheduled, tasks to remind you to do certain things, or automated emails to go out? So that's
I love that question, Rich, because honestly, the biggest benefit, Laxman, I'm going to your next thing because you're talking about benefits too about this. And honestly, Rich, the biggest benefit I see in when people start to use AI is really the idea of it's awareness, it's gap analysis, because I know as silly as that sounds, but when staffing and recruiting organizations want to use AI, they think it's the magic button, but it's not necessarily the easy button. It forces firms to sit down, evaluate a process that they most likely created years ago that they haven't looked at again, or let's face it, they're creating from scratch today because they want all their recruiting teams to work a way that they haven't thought of, and it's been the wild, wild west in the past. So yeah, the benefit, Rich, is taking the first step of awareness, helping these teams look at the experience of their candidate and clients and helping them scale, be more efficient, because you can't automate. You don't have something that you don't have a process for.
Yeah.
So yes, actually, yes, it's making you stop and go back 2 steps before you excel 5. So yes.
You mentioned something earlier. You mentioned 3 points, Courtney. I think you said, what were they? The 3 points of recruiting, right? Which is finding the right talent, which AI can
attracting.
help. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, and then maybe some enticing and laying out some, bait or whatever you want to use the term to get people, engaged. But the most important thing is still what we do, which is have these meaningful conversations. We have a little bit more intel on these people, and sometimes it's a little too much information and can be scary, especially to the receiver. How did you get that information? But the role of the recruiter, everybody thinks, just like I started out in the days of faxing, very 25 years ago, and receiving faxed resumes, and then the job board started, monster.com, and all of these job boards, and the role of the recruiter is going to go away. It's not. Now there's going to be a lot of automation with regards to some of the lower level jobs, which are, if you want a trade job or something like that. In fact, I got something the other day. I got a text from a firm that was looking for some people, something to do with, I think it was to work with, long-term result was it was to work with Temu to work with their putting, I think it was fake reviews in, or whatever it was. And I started interacting with this chat bot, and it was horrible because the experience degraded very quickly because there was no human interaction. Eventually there was a human, but I couldn't tell whether a human was following a script or was working. But I was just curious to see how it worked.
So I can tell you that I tested out this solution for an AI salesperson. Lawyers are using it now, for especially like ambulance chase attorneys. Like they'll, have an AI call and say, "Hey, you're just in an accident. You wanted to follow, and you wanted to basically debrief this whole person, get their whole story." And it's almost there. Like if you say, "Hey, listen, this thing's taking too long," it'll respond by saying, "Hey, listen, I know this is taking a long time. Please just give me a couple minutes." I mean, we're not that far off, unfortunately, from sales guys being replaced, as sad and scary as that is. But you're still going to need a little bit of human action. The problem with this particular program, and it's like I said, it's pretty close. The gap between you talking and then it talking is a little too long still, but not that long. Like it's in another 5 years, it's going to be pretty competitive. And there's a lot of studies that some of these sales AI apps are already outperforming SDRs and BDRs and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Rich, I think another place that I've seen, and I've kind of heard it, like think about our middle managers in our business. Like they're the ones that are analyzing the data behind the metrics. So it's like, well, when we have a recruiter that's not performing, they need to get so much money or where they want to be, but they're not understanding the ratio reports or what that looks like. I think that could be a place to help use for coaching and middle management, because it sees the whole larger data set to help us quicker. I think we're closer to that one probably than the sales managers, but
Agreed.
it's
The analytics parts
be
were already here.
interesting.
I mean, I've got AI clients that are replacing. I mean, one company just closed a big financial institution. I mean, their AI software is going to replace or repurpose. You never want to replace, I suppose. You want to repurpose, 500 analysts at this bank.
Yeah.
So I mean, the analysts the data part, that's already here. I mean, that data and writing and things of that nature, AI is, crushing already. So
Yeah. And maybe these middle managers or the analysts and all of them kind of has to evolve themselves, adopting all these technologies and move into an extra role, because this already opens up a new roles as well, along with replacing or repurposing the existing ones. So that's why it's kind of important to upgrade yourself, like we upgrade the softwares. Like Paul said, you've started off with the fax days and then the job boards, and then all these CRMs, ATS, sequences, sales engagements, and now it's AI. So it's kind of keep evolving. But then it used to take about 10 years for any of these things to change earlier. Now we are living in the world of like 2 years is equal to 10 years, maybe.
Right. Right. Thank God I'm getting old enough that I can get out of this before it becomes instantaneous. But but the human element is really where we come in more than anything. It's the human element, and because we're psychologists, we're salespeople, we're getting to know people to know, like, and trust you is something technology really can't do. In fact, it can turn people off if you're not careful.
Yeah, exactly. So with all these tools and all these improvements and crazy things that are happening, have you guys seen any changes on the time to hire?
No.
The time that used to take to hire and all?
If anything, it's taking longer, quite frankly, but that's the market. So AI has not helped that. I don't think it's helped that. It changed that whatsoever.
So do you think it's because of the market, or?
It's the market right now. Like, most markets right now, the hiring managers are nervous, they're scared, they're worried about the election, the economy, everything, and they're just trying to protect their own jobs and not make a mistake. So for so many of these companies, it's analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis.
Okay.
I hear a lot of firms at this point in time, the mentality and the thought process is just survive till 25. Do where we need to do what we need to do. Don't go down, but don't go up. Yeah.
It's a good t-shirt for Crelate to start sending out. Survive to 25. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Write that down.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest to all the other 80 to 100 recruiters joined and registered for this webinar? Like, how do you think that, or what are the steps or tips to survive in this market? Any, like, for example, like being active on social media or all the other digital channels to find your jobs or whatever it is like.
You got to get yourself out there. I mean, like I mean, I've got a podcast, I've got a coaching program. I mean, I've been doing this for a million years. You got to start doing videos on LinkedIn. Obviously, one of the biggest things, honestly, for Outplay is putting video in your emails. It gets a massive response. Anything you can do that's differentiating yourself, anything you're going to do to be a resource to your clients and be a go-to and trusted advisor, not that commission breathing dragon, is what you've got to do. And for your candidates too.
Empathy, having a lot of empathy with your candidates, just with everybody. When people are losing their jobs, you got to help everybody some way. We used to say, if we can't help them, we're not social workers. But you know what? We have to at least give those people that we can't help something that they can use to help them with their job. I mean, just don't turn them away. Otherwise, you're cold. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important thing is be empathetic, and you got to do more. You got to just keep going, but be smart. And that's what, I think the AI, once I figure out Courtney mentioned process, and I'm a big process guy. In fact, I probably spend more time on process than actually recruiting sometimes, because I really like it, and I'm trying to find flow. And that's how why I integrated Outplay and Crelate to find a good process. How can we go back and forth? And it's really improving and streamlining that process to get more candidates or more outreach through the door quicker, but without sacrificing quality.
Yeah. I mean, the end of the day, I mean, everything you're doing has got to be, to survive, as your question, Lax. I mean, it's about the outreach, and it's about building relationships, with people for the long term. I mean, during COVID, no one was hiring, obviously, but it was a great time. I mean, honestly, I found COVID, to be honest with you, one of the least stressful times in my 28 years of recruiting, because there wasn't any business. You didn't have to worry about trying to get business. There was none.
Right.
But if you actually just spend some time and talk to people, good clients that have been your, clients for years, or candidates have been candidates for years, that were quality people, and you just kind of kept them warm, kept them happy, once the market turned around, you were booming. I mean, I was literally for 2.5 years placed almost an executive a week, more than an executive a week.
Wow.
It was literally, I'd have 60 job orders at a time as a solo recruiter, and was placing, literally doing a deal or more a week for almost 2.5 years. It was insane. But a lot of that was because of the outreach during a downtime. It wasn't just leaving people in the lurch, clients or candidates, and giving them
Nurture.
actual advice, giving them real advice, real insight.
Yeah. Nurturing. Keep nurturing.
Yeah.
And the value
And
you're
it-
providing today was different than 5 years ago or 2 years ago. And Paul, to your comment was, hey, I might not have an opportunity for you, but guess what? Let me help your kid that's going into college, to give them some insight and abbreviate. Like, the value that you're providing, you have to be unique in times that are down like this. So again, you are propelled in the future whenever things do start moving, that it's coming back to you twofold.
Well, it's the old adage of, you want to put more in the bank than take out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sales 101. You always want to be giving something, not just be the guy taking something. Like, even if it's just sending, hey, I thought you may like this article, and you send it over to someone, no strings attached, just, hey, thought you liked this. That's it. Keep your name in front of them. Add some value to what they're doing. Like this whole, non-compete issue that's just up now. It's a great way to reach out to clients with. It's a great add to them. They don't know about it yet, and they don't know what it means yet, quite frankly. Your head of sales or your head of whatever you're recruiting for is too busy to go read up on it, quite frankly. So go educate them. I mean, that's your job as a salesperson, is to educate and teach. So, that's what sells.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we're calling out on deposit more than what you withdraw, and in a way, build your own brand and be helpful to the people, so that whenever that 2025 is over, you're all ready and pumped up with all these network of people that you have helped and following you, and kind of treats you as someone who is kind of respected in the industry and the go-to person for anything, right? So that's what we're calling out, all be the go-to person.
But
Absolutely.
be authentic about it. Don't be fake. Be authentic.
But that's,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's the trick to all of recruiting anyway. I'm sure, Courtney, you've trained a lot of recruiters. I mean, is being who you are, be authentic. I mean, the recruiters that sound like the used car salesman, or just, trying to, push something around. It's just, find clients you like to work with, and it's amazing how much easier your job gets,
Yeah, don't be transactional. I'll give you an example. My wife's a speech pathologist, and she gets call, text, email from the same person within 1 minute. Don't do that. Vary your time, because otherwise it's transactional, and you don't want to be transactional. You want to be a strategic consultant. Really is what you want to be.
Yeah. And you can't fake it for a long time anyways, as you said, like, yeah. I mean, you see Rich doing podcasting and all that stuff, and you say yourself that I have to do as well. But then unless you have that real interest and the kind of knowledge around all these things to be really helpful. It's very hard to produce. Probably you'll do 1 or 2 videos, and third day you're like, done, I'm gone.
It's hard. It's hard,
How long
but
you been doing that, Rich? When did you start doing all these things?
the coaching we just started through Moore's Essential. I'm helping them, and then the podcast we just launched the first one. I just launched the first one. It's officially actually going to launch like next week probably, but it's done. But to your point, it's hard to do. It's hard to do it because I'm interviewing clients and hiring managers and just getting them and the schedules to work, and then trying to run the desk and everything else is crazy. But yeah, that's one of the process I'm setting up to have it more scheduled. And I'm like on a podcast myself, like once or twice a week, it seems like. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on. Trying to run your desk from from as a solo is always a lot of fun. So
Yeah. Or maybe the easiest way is to just share whatever you're learning on a daily basis. That's an easy thing. So you're not overthinking about what to share today, but you just share what you have learned today.
no, and that's honestly, I find as a recruiter, like there's all these great processes everyone's got. I probably don't give myself enough credit for the process I have, but I am not the most processed human being, but I am not, and I just I shouldn't say that. I'm very planned on my day, but my overall process is not probably as thought out as Courtney's, and I know Paul's. Paul and I used to talk about this a long time ago about that, and I would think Paul was crazy, how as detailed his process gets. But
I get, yeah, I do tend to overdo it, and that I think one of the comments is how's AI or it can be hurt you, and that's the other thing. Technology can be a disadvantage if you overuse it.
well, I think most recruiters either over process or expect, as Courtney said earlier, on technology. I mean, like I bill a tremendous amount every year, and my main things are literally creating. This is not to be an extra advertisement for you, but it's really Crelate, Outplay, and it's kind of it. I mean, that's really the basis of the basis of everything I do, and obviously LinkedIn. But it's all automated. That's the beautiful thing. So it saves so much time. Like when I talk to recruiters using Crelate, and I'm like, why not just use Outplay? It's all automated. Why do you want to be on multiple systems, checking
Right.
multiple, screens? And it's just it's crazy, and it cuts your process time way down. It's like you put it in one place and you move on.
I agree. I'm going to do a shameless plug for both Crelate and Outplay now. Crelate's been actually, I think their new business development module that they've been working on looks really good. I'm really excited about that. I've been using it for my MPCs. Most people, most placeable candidate to send to candidates. I'm sorry, to market to candidates. I use the business development piece as a like a reverse MPC tool. Like I'll have a list of companies, to present a candidate to. And then, Outplay obviously has got their sequence tool, which I think is it's superior to anything I've really worked with. And the good thing I like about Outplay is their customer service love and their ability to listen and hear what we have to say and how to make improvements, and they take that under advisement to help them with a better tool. So there's my shameless plugs for you guys.
Wonderful. We are thankful both Crelate and Outplay. I mean, the funny story is when I launched Outplay, my initial ICP, the ideal customer profile that I thought was sales. And then I don't know, someone from the recruitment industry has figured out.
It was you and I talking about this, and then I'm like, you got to hook it up because you were on AppSumo. And I'm like, you got to get hooked up for Crelate, easy open API. It makes it super easy. And you guys had it done in like days. It was killer. It was I mean, you knocked it out of the park from day one. So, I mean, it was really, it made it so much easier.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's a great sequencing tool.
I was very new to the whole recruiting space, talking to recruiters, what language you guys speak, what you use and all. But both of you, and there are many more people in those early groups. We have created the Facebook group as well for Outplay for recruiters, Outplay for Crelate, and all these groups. There are 400-500 folks in there, and you guys have been kind of amazing and helpful in building up all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Happy to do so.
it's been a blast to do. I mean, I love, like, my whole world is startup software companies, so I love helping these companies, the guys like yourself, like, just grow and build, because it's fun and it helps us in the long run.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah. We have influence on how we want the product to look so that I can, optimize the, you can optimize the process to make it work to your advantage. And
yeah,
hopefully we've built a product, I consider myself part of that team. Outplay's built a product and Crelate's built a product that really is a one-stop. So, yeah.
Wonderful. That's some kind of an unconditional love that you guys have given to both Outplay and Crelate, and here we are today. And another shameless plug for quick 3 to 5 minutes. Love is ready with a quick demo of how Outplay and Crelate works together. I mean, not a full product demo, but then for a lot of people that you haven't used or wanting to use, we just thought to save your time, we'll just do a 2 to 3 minute quick overview of what's new and how both Crelate and Outplay works over a quick screen share, and then we'll jump off to other topics. Lav, are you ready?
Yep, I am ready. Guys, just give me a second.
Yeah, let's make it really quick. I don't want to make it sound like a sales pitch or a demo and all that stuff, but it's important, as you guys said, both Paul and Rich, to be on the right tools at the right time, especially when time is not good outside.
So, yeah, hope everyone is doing well who have joined the webinar today with us. So, like Lax mentioned, this is just a quick overview of what Outplay and Crelate together can do. So here we have the Crelate integration setup, which is basically, you can set it up in just with the, your API key. So you will find your API key in the Crelate account. You just have to put in the API key, the integration gets connected. It's just a plug and play. And once the integration is connected, you can go into the sequence or the campaign that you are running for your candidates to reach out to and hook the job that you are, recruiting them for along with the job stage. So once the candidate is in that job opening and job stage in Crelate, he or she will be automatically pulled in. So for example, in your sequence settings, we have this option of choosing the job, choosing the stage, and the candidate will get pulled in from Crelate into Outplay seamlessly. And we also have some more options here where you can, let's say if the job state changes to ABC or something in Crelate for that opening, the candidate will automatically get marked as finished in the sequence in Outplay. And same case, you can pause the prospect or the candidate also in Outplay based on the job state change in Crelate. So these are, quick, what you say, with the help of APIs and integrations we are doing, that helps you to save that process of going back and forth between the platforms and taking different actions. And then you have the outbound settings here. Again, based on certain actions or activities happening inside Outplay, you can take some actions and Crelate for that candidate. So again, no need to, go into the platforms and do the manual stuff. The systems will do it on your behalf. Same way, we have a Crelate integration, Chrome extension launched recently. So any candidate you want to add quickly, you can just, open the candidate. You have the options of pushing them to Outplay or pushing them to a sequence directly. And that candidate will be, added to the sequence or to Outplay based on the action you are choosing. Same way, you don't have to be inside Outplay to do Outplay tasks or activities. So you can do tasks, activities while you are on the Crelate UI. So again, helps you to save that time of going back and forth between the platforms and just keep it all simple in one place. Yeah.
Cool.
Love, can you show them? I think what's really important for people to understand is the tasks, because we talked about planning your day, and you don't have to in many respects, because you're going to make 15 calls. It gives you what tasks you need to do that day, what tasks are behind. So you may have to make a call to this person. It automatically shows you, hey, I've got to call this guy today. And you complete it, and it takes you to the next task. So that if you just want to make 50 calls that day, they're already lined up for you. And then you can see, what I like about it is you can then log the call and move on, which is great.
Yep. So
I mean, I think the strength of it for me, though, to be honest with you, because, well, the strength for me is just the fact that once I put people in my pipeline, it sucks everyone into Outplay and then moves them to the next stage in Crelate once
Right.
they've responded by email. So you don't have to go and look at your tasks. You don't have to look at anything. I never personally use tasks. I just use my various job dashboards.
Yeah,
So
so you're automating all your calls, all your emails in
absolutely.
Outplay? Yeah. So I use Outplay to automate my emails and mix it in with phone calls. So you can make a phone call, then automate an email or manually send an email and move on, which is what I think makes Outplay far superior than some of the other products, is that it's got these multiple things that you can do. So like, I know I've got to call these 5 people. It tells me call these guys, and then it puts them in an automated sequence after that if I want to, or a manual sequence.
The other new feature you guys have that I love is the email verification. You know, cuts down on all the bounced emails and things like that, saving your domain,
Yeah.
which has been dynamite.
And then this new feature where you don't actually have to even leave Crelate is great. All your tasks, where that Outplay box is, all your tasks will show up there, so you don't even have to go into Outplay once you've set it up to, you know, initially set up your sequence, which is beautiful. So yeah, there's all your tasks right there.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty is all that you do with Outplay, all the tasks, calls, anything, notes, everything will go and sit back in Crelate. Like that's beautiful.
I think you guys have explained, all the things. That's
Well,
why
yeah,
Of course.
we use it. Yeah, because we use it every day. So yeah,
Mhm.
you know.
that's
Yeah,
why
and as Paul said, they're the ones who define what to do. So they're in the driving position.
Yeah, I mean, and there's different ways you can use it to, you know, you can use it for different purposes in different ways. I think Paul uses it a little bit different way than I do, but they're both super effective, which is
Right.
you're not set. You have to do it this way. You have to do it that way, like some of these other programs. So it's so it's super nice.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I started looking at the whole idea of these sales cadences many years ago, probably 10 years ago. And there wasn't a tool out there that could actually just do what we wanted to do, which is, like, for instance, my cadence might be call the person, immediately follow up with an email. Wait 3 days, call again. No answer, call again 2 days later. No answer, or leave voice message, email again. Okay. Or, I've used other tools that, will only do the emails steps. So this integrates it all together. It integrates with Ring Central or their own dialer, which is a Twilio account, which is, really cheap too, really inexpensive to use. And I think, can't you use voicemail drop too with Twilio account, right, Lex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice. A lot of people, don't want to leave a message or want to leave a brief message, and to save your voice, once they hit, once they don't answer, you can just hit the button and it'll leave a simple message for them. It might not be personalized, but it's a message. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys, as Love said, you guys have put the best of what both the platforms do. And the most important thing you guys also have emphasized is like with the use of all these tools, be it AI or not with AI, also gives you all the challenges that maybe sending too many emails and all those. So the safety settings and how to use them right is the most important. And we've put all those together. And for those, anybody interested in having a demo, we will share the link to book a demo. And also, I see a couple of questions from Dan, I guess, for one for Outplay and one for Crelate. So with Dan, we will reach out to you with the answers, or probably help you set up a demo or set up your account, so that we are using this
but
time.
you can have multiple domains with both pretty easily.
We can.
Oh,
Yeah,
another great feature is if you have a website, it has a chat feature, so it'll pop up and you can actually have a conversation with somebody directly from your website, which is really a nice little feature too.
Oh,
Another value add.
I didn't even know about that one, to be honest with you.
Oh.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I think we should do another webinar where especially talk about both Outplay and Crelate and how it works. So wonderful. So in the interest of time, quickly jumping out back into what we were talking about earlier. So guys, all of you are like, you follow these, be it news, be it tools, or be it new ways and workflows of doing it. How do you guys do it? Like, what's the best way for keeping yourself up to date, being a recruiter and maintaining your desk and all? What are some of the things that you guys especially do to stay on top of everything that's happening
In terms of technology changes or in terms of
in terms
recruiting?
of technology?
You know what? The best group, there's Facebook groups really are a great source of who's doing what. There, you know, and there's a lot of great recruiting Facebook groups out there that really, for me, you know, that's where I get at least the intro from. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I mean, Rich gave me 2 new things today. I'm going to go take a look at.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook's great. I mean, AppSumo's fantastic. I mean, that's where I found you guys originally. AppSumo's been
Right.
been dynamite. You know, and just, I mean, for me, I all I do is look at startups. So you're always
Right.
you're always checking something out. And
That-
but those are really the two best places, I think.
That's part of
So,
your job. You're lucky. So you're in sales,
Yeah.
recruiting. We always follow what's happening.
Yeah, you got to do what you
For those
love.
that
You gotta,
don't,
yeah.
for those that don't do what Rich does all day long,
Yeah.
you should listen to podcasts like the Full Desk Experience, because that's
There
where
you
we
go.
talk about all this stuff.
Right. Okay,
Um,
good.
But yeah, I would just say attend other things. Look, keep your eyes open. I think the other part of this is we always look at AI as the shiny tool outside of what we're using today. I would recommend, like, my biggest thing that I see before we jump and spend money and spin cycles, all while creating more work, we really need to like evaluate, what does our current stuff do? What is it currently do? What is it going to do? What are the updates? What's on the roadmap? I don't want people to think and misconstrue change in technology for actual progress. Don't sit here and jump ship to the new thing because you heard it in an amazing webinar. Maybe the thing that you actually have in hand today does it. Rich just learned 2 new things today from Paul.
go.
So don't think that the answer is always outside, that you should always go to something new. And if you do, try before you buy. And again, don't construe change with progress through these products.
I think so many recruiters that I hear them talk that call me, they literally just they use tech or use process to avoid doing the job.
Yeah,
And
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
You and I have talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you just do it. You stop thinking about it. You know, try stuff. Don't be afraid to try the new tech. But it's the very few new technologies are going to replace what needs to get done. I mean,
Pick
it's
up
that
the
simple.
phone. I
Yeah.
mean, the
Yes.
phone is the best technology for recruiting ever invented.
Yeah, and it
Absolutely.
still stays true, and probably in the future as well. Nothing gonna replace picking up the phone.
You're
And
never
as
closing.
Paul said,
You're really going to close a deal just over email.
And you
Yeah.
know, Rich had a good comment he made several months ago, which is nobody else is picking up the phone, so that makes you unique by picking up the phone and just calling
Mhm.
away.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And as Paul said, Facebook groups has been a great source of inspiration for me on how industry is working, what needs to be built further into Outplay and all that stuff. So definitely recommend. I think a lot of recruiters are already on the Facebook groups. I was a little late, but then that's a great source. That's a great source to get inspiration and also share all the learnings we were talking about to build your own brand and keep depositing more. Cool, this is wonderful. And slowly getting towards the end. So I want kind of your opinion for all 3 of you to talk about this thing. As the closing note says, like, looking ahead, what do you see as the biggest challenges and also at the same time opportunities for the recruiting industry in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oof. You know, it all
I know.
depends on your space and the technology. And, you know, I think, you know, our job is not, I think this job is going to get a little harder before it gets a little easier personally. You know,
You know,
the more,
it's gotten
the more
harder
you get
with
AI, the
technology.
more you're going to get people, you know, jumping, you know, companies trying to avoid using recruiters. So you got to be more creative and have more, you know, be able to give them more than just a candidate. You're going to have to be able to be a consultant, be a teacher.
Right. When you introduce a candidate, you need to show them the pluses and the minuses of the candidate so that they can sell it, sell their company on the firm and make sure it's a good fit. I think the biggest challenge has been the biggest challenge I've had for the last several years is getting people engaged, getting people to answer the phone, getting people to return your phone calls. So you have to, continue to show value, and that's where your job as a human, the human part of this recruitment cycle comes into play. Look, I think it was, I can't remember who's that big sales recruiter trainer up in Connecticut. I forgot his name, but he said,
Danny Cahill, Mike Gianta.
Danny Cahill. He says, finding people is the easy part. It's getting inside their head and convincing them to take a look at the opportunity and then guiding them through the process and holding their hand. That's where our value is. Finding the people, everybody thinks, oh, the technology is going to make our job go away. No, it's just going to make your ability to locate these people easier to find. And it's going to make all your competitors the same way. Your differentiation is you and your personality. That's it.
I agree. I think differentiating authentic human experiences amongst the rise of AI and the digital noise is going to be a challenge. Rich, you said something, guilty of process keeping you from doing the job. I kind of think that kind of goes along with what I've seen with a lot of organizations. So this worries me to an extent. A key hurdle in this whole process is avoiding the temptation to simply adopt AI as the easy button. In our industry, there's often the propensity of a do more mentality. Rich, you're an individual contributor, but I see managers are like, they get on this KPI hamster wheel, and it's like, well, if you just make more calls, if you just send more emails, and that really like stuck through with me, and the fixation on that activity-based KPI, many firms are missing the boat without really making a business impact, a meaningful business impact. So the challenge was going to be ensuring AI is not really blindly implementing ways that exacerbate this whole unproductive mentality. So I think that's a challenge that I see going to be in the forefront in the future years.
It is funny though. People that still like, I'm a big cold call. I love making cold calls still, but it cracks me up that these managers still managed by, hey, you got to make 50 calls a day. Like, what if you get 20 or 10 amazing conversations? You get 4 job orders that take you 3 hours, or you get 10 great candidates that are all sent outs. I'm like, isn't that more valuable?
When you have that metric, you have people calling the Santa Claus hotline or the White House to be.
Oh yeah, or the weather line. Oh yeah, I need to have 5 minutes of average phone time. I'll just call the Weather Channel or whatever for 20 minutes. But
we want to get away from that.
Well, not entirely though, because as a newbie, I think quantity will bring quality, and you've got to.
But you can have both. You can make quantity of quality. Not just quantity of anything. I had a guy work for me once years ago, before I hired him, he said, "Oh yeah, I used to make 1 million calls a day or whatever." And he came to work for me, and he would just dial the phone, and I was like, "What the hell you're doing?" And he was literally calling the HR guy. He'd call the janitor. He would literally, just like you said, he would call every person in the stupid company to ask for a referral instead of just call the people in the company. I'm like, that's useless. I mean,
smart calling and constantly improving.
No, with that, I will tell you, there's an AI, and I cannot remember the name of the company now. There is a software where you can actually practice your cold calling, and it will respond to you and grade you. And I got to find the name of it. It's like Outbound or something like that. It was a pretty cool tool if you were training people.
Yeah, I think it's called Hyperbound.
Yes, I think that's so. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it's called Hyperbound. Probably we will try to put it in the notes and share it with the people. I mean, obviously we'll go through the recording, we'll kind of recall all the tool names and all the amazing things that you guys have shared. But overall, to summarize, yes, AI is not here to replace you. It's going to replace you for sure if you're not adopting all these new technologies, if you're not adopting to the changes of being helpful to the people, not just be transactional. Don't think AI will come and solve everything, gonna automatically make calls automatically, and then finally help you just take the check. That's not gonna happen. So we all have to the challenge, and also the good thing and the bad thing at this, with all the changes and all the evolving tools, is like you have to learn more. That's the big challenge. You have to step up and learn more.
Use AI to discover what's out there in AI. That's what I did before the call.
That's like my kid asking Alexa or Siri, "What's your name? When did you born? What's your birthday?" and all that stuff.
Well, you can now get you can get computers to work for you instead of you working for computers is really what it amounts to. So,
Very
do it the
well
right
put.
way. So,
Yep, do it the right way. Obviously, there are so many tools, so much noise around. As Kathy said, don't jump off the tools to tools immediately, hoping that something will solve. Just try to learn what's your problem and the number of solutions out there in the market. Talk to people like Rich and Paul, find what's working for them, and always be in the network. Attend more webinars. Obviously, we'll do more and learn, obviously. And awesome. Thanks a lot for all three of you for spending 1 hour with us. It's super helpful for me, especially, and also for all the people that joined the webinar. And as said, we will send you the recording. And guys, if people wants to reach out to you for whatever the help they need, what's the best way? Do you guys mind if we share email addresses or LinkedIn profiles?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to, give my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook is best for me. Email, like LinkedIn, I get bombarded and I'm maxed out on connections. So Facebook is the best way for me. So
Yeah,
There you go.
Facebook. Send me a
He
Facebook
maxed
message.
one.
It's a good idea.
yeah,
Yeah, Rich, you maxing out on number of connections shows like
yeah, they max out at 30,000 connections. So I literally spend like part of the week deleting
Oh,
old
wow.
people. There's so it's a blessing and a curse, to be honest with you. So
wonderful. Yeah, Facebook groups is one. We'll put links to all those Facebook groups that we are all part of. So that you can come and ask any question. Like I love those groups because people ask all kinds of questions and there is so much help available instead of just reaching out to one person as well. Awesome. And Courtney, what's the best way to reach out to you? Obviously, Crelate, and we will share your details.
there you go.
Absolutely. If you have a product question, it's support@crelate.com. Otherwise, you can email me or reach out to LinkedIn for me, and I will get you to the right place, no matter what the question is. So yep, email or LinkedIn.
Wonderful. We are exactly on the time, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks a lot again for spending time and sharing all the advice.
Thanks for setting this up.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining,
Have a great
guys.
day.
We'll meet you in another webinar, and
There you go.
meanwhile, we'll send you all this information, and we will use AI to figure out all the learnings from this, so that you don't have to go through the full 1 hour.
You got the AI recorder, so it's all good. So
Yes, Outplay AI gonna summarize and send you all this.
love it. Love it. Excellent, guys. Thanks very much. See y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You all have a
Bye,
good day.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining. You all have a great one.